One random thing before we talk about the strong game last Sunday and what's ahead. With corner, I was just curious. Last week, obviously, you went to Storm before his unfortunate injury, rotating with Jack. Do you now go back to Ethan rotating with Jack, or do you stick with Jack for the entire game? What you're able to share on that?
Yeah, to be determined, right? Again, have trust and faith in all those guys when they see the field. Jack's done a lot of good things, and so has Ethan. So we'll work itself out throughout the week. Not going to get a lot of live reps, but I'd expect to see a little bit of both.
You've had some unique views of Lamar Jackson. You played against him his first MVP season. You were on staff with him. I'm curious, how has he grown as a passer, but then also with the addition of Derrick Henry, just how has that improved him as a runner?
Yeah, he's such a special talent, right? And I think his skill set now paired with what Todd Monken has brought from just a schematic standpoint, it's the perfect mesh, right? Because it allows him to utilize all his strengths. He can have a little bit more control of the huddle, kind of check in and out of some concepts, and then obviously he can pull the ball down and run at any particular point, whether it's designed or not. So I think the partnership and marriage between him and Monk has been successful, and you've seen the results of all that.
Anthony, you spent 4 years in Baltimore. So can you take us inside that building and how ingrained that physical style is in that franchise and all those players, and how important it is for your guys to match that?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like that 2000 Super Bowl team and the culture and tradition that they've kind of instilled within that organization has never left. And I think they honestly, they probably get a lot of credit for it, but it probably really starts with Ozzie Newsome, right? It probably starts with him, right? Two-time Hall of Famer as a GM and as a player coach. Like he knows exactly what he wants in a player, in a coach, and you feel that all throughout the building. I just remember when I went in there as a player back in 2002, you felt an immense responsibility to uphold the standard, which means when you were on that field with those guys, you were only going to play a certain way. And guys, particularly on defense, and I think it's found its way to the offensive side of the ball as well. Like, you know that when you hit that field, like if you're not playing with your hair on fire, you won't last long. And I think because there's been such alignment in vision organizationally, starting with the owner, with Ozzie, Eric, John, and everybody in between, you've been able to have that kind of cohesion, and it's been able to carry on throughout. So, again, have a tremendous amount of respect and love for that organization and the people in it.
Last week, well, actually every week, you've been telling us a different element about how this defense can improve, how they should play. Mm-hmm. How and why did it come all together against the Falcons?
We're constantly growing, right? Each and every day. And if we're not here trying to get better in some capacity, then we're losing ground on our opponent. So I thought it was fortunate. It was a perfect marriage between how we were playing defensively, getting opportune stops, particularly on some of the fourth downs, and then what our offense was doing. You know, you go out there and you get 37 rush attempts, you're going to win the time possession. So I credit them for the success just as much as well as how we were playing. I thought it was the ultimate team win.
It looked like the defenders were playing on a string, the connectivity. How do you build on that?
I hope the success they had breeds confidence in each other, right? And we approach every game with the same mindset, but I told them that we had to have a pack mentality just because of the skill position players that they had. And for whatever reason, sometimes there's certain verbiage and things you say to players and it sticks. And this one did. And I thought you saw that on Sunday. Incredibly happy for our guys, just the way they continued to fight amidst all the adversity thus far. And you hope and pray that carries into this week, and I think it will.
What are some of the things that you guys did to limit Bijan Robinson, are applicable also to Derrick Henry?
Yeah, it took all 11, right? It took all 11. And it'll be no different this week. Different style of runner, of course, but it's going to be an effort and strain game because it's not just Derrick Henry, right? They got 43 Justice back there, and then when they put 34, the Mitchell kid in, I mean, he's a speed demon too. So they got all kind of backs, not to mention the guy that holds the ball most of the time. So it's going to be a true effort and strain game from our guys, just knowing that any play can turn into a run play when that guy's back there at quarterback. And we're going to have to play through the echo of the whistle. Right? He has one of the longer time to throws in the league, and I told it, hey, it's not because he's back there just, going through his progression. Right? He's back there holding the ball. Someone's gonna uncover. So we have to plaster on the back end, and we have to strain and rush and finish on the front end.
Coach, with Jalen Phillips, every week it seems like he's getting pressures from interior alignments, whether he's mugged up or playing like a 2-eye technique. What do you like about him going up against interior offensive linemen where he's been an edge in the past?
Yeah, just trying to take advantage of his skill set, his athleticism against some of those bigs, and he's not afraid of being in there. And not that any of our guys are, right? But sometimes you get some of the head guys, they don't like to get caught up there in the fray, right, in between the tackles. He has no fear of that. So we're going to take advantage of that every chance we get, because we know just the way his change of direction and his physicality, he can take advantage of some of these lesser athletes at the guard and center position.
From a health standpoint, in terms of continuity at safety, how concerned are you? Obviously, Ashton, Mike didn't sound optimistic. He sounded optimistic on Minka with the finger, iffy with the finger, but still several guys hurt. How worried are you?
Hey, I sleep well, right? Worry isn't going to do me any good. We got to find a way to get it done. So I know whatever combination of guys that show up out there, they're going to play hard and give us everything they got. And we'll try to find a way to get it done.
Dante seemed to come back strong last week after, obviously, the Charger game.
Yeah, and I expect that from him, right? He puts in the work, just like all these young bucks. The thing about Jordan Phillips, Kenneth Grant, Dante Trader, I can go up and down the line. These guys are football guys. So whatever God intended them to be, they're going to reach that ceiling because they care and they work too hard.
What have you learned about Rasul Douglas that maybe you didn't know about him when he signed with the Dolphins, even though he had been in the league for a while?
Yeah. You talk to a lot of coaches whenever you're inquiring about players. And I didn't talk to one that had a negative word to say about Rasul. Consummate professional, knows all the ins and outs schematically of what you're trying to do, can play to, if you want to say he has deficiencies at this point in his career, but knows how to play within the scheme and use all that to advantage. So I love the guy, man. He is a leader, not necessarily by kind of walking and talking and saying all the right things, but just by his sheer professionalism. He's showing some of these young guys the pathway to play as long and have the success that he's had in this league.
How would you describe Jordan Brooks' approach on the football field?
Man, he is relentless and disciplined. He is, to me, between him, Sealer, Chubb, those guys are the heart and soul of our defense. And as he goes, we go defensively. So incredibly proud of the kid and the work he's put forth since he's been here. Again, when I first met Jordan, when we signed him back in, March, April last year, that first lunch we ate together, I think he said about 5 words, and I was like a little nervous. Got inside backer, don't want to talk much, so we're gonna be in trouble. But eventually, when you earn his trust, he comes out of his shell, and he's outkicked whatever we thought he was gonna be as a leader. He's surpassed that.